Hello and welcome back to this channel. My name is Frida Wiesel, and on this channel, I explore topics related to Judaism, New York City. I'm a New York City tour guide in the Jewish community, and my specialty, Hasidic Judaism, specifically the Satmar Hasidic community, which is the world that I come from. Today, I'm going to do something different and special. I am going to read to you a transcript of a Hasidic groom being prepared for marriage and being taught about sex, about the birds and the bees. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this lesson and why I decided to read it to you right now. So a number of years ago, I think quite a few years ago, a young groom attended his ultimate lesson before getting married. And this is the tradition in the community that I come from. You attend premarital lessons, and in the final lesson, you are introduced to sex and taught about sex. This young groom recorded that lesson. It is a 25-minute lesson, and he recorded it, and it was circulated underground among Hasidim and ex-Hasidim. At the time, I was still fairly new out of the Hasidic community, and I felt in that recording a lot of memories flood back for myself, as it felt quite a lot like what I had experienced myself as an 18-year-old bride, engaged to a man I didn't know, being taught about sex, all the intense feelings I had around that. And so it was a lot of emotions, and I had a hard time listening to it. It was like very raw. It was like one of the most probably intense moments in your life, when you're prepared to have sex with someone you know so little about, and when you come from such a sheltered world, to be talking about something like that openly. And so I put it aside. I felt immediately when I saw this recording that it was very special, that it was a piece of sociological artifact that was very special. We all talk about the ways in which people learn about sex, especially in the world my son is growing up in, where I remember he was very young when children were already talking about pornography and introducing each other about pornography. And I've always felt that there was no perfect way to deal with such a big issue, that every society has its shortfalls, that nothing works perfectly for everyone, but that this particular way was a really interesting one, and that was so different from how my son was going to be introduced to sex, and I felt that was really valuable as a piece of cultural artifact, and I put it away. Some years later, I felt quite differently. I revisited the recording, I revisited the audio, and I found it to be really special. So much so that I translated it from Yiddish, which is the original, to English, and I transcribed it on a blog post on my blog, which is on my website, fridawiesel.com. I did it mostly for myself. It got a little bit of views, not much. I transcribed it and I hid the audio because I didn't want to expose anyone who had been recorded against their consent. I didn't want to expose anyone's identity, so I changed the names and I made sure it was anonymous, and I put it on my blog. I want to read that to you today and add some commentary for where I feel it might be helpful to contextualize some things. And the reason I want to do that now is because I just published an interview with a sex and intimacy coach named Peggy Greenfield, who comes from the Satmar Hasidic community of Williamsburg, left, and is now serving as part of her clientele are people from her former community. She, like me, inhabits a very unique place where we are released of the conventions and expectations of the community because we have left, but we also have a very strong understanding of that world. So Peggy's work is unique in that she can approach her clients from a secular viewpoint. She can give them advice on sex and intimacy if they are so interested, if they're so inclined, from the perspective of what modern society thinks might be okay, while also understanding where the clients are coming from, what might be not okay for them, and so on. So I feel like she's in a very unique position, and I thought that her insights would be really interesting and make for a really fascinating and perhaps helpful conversation on this topic, which when we talk about sex and intimacy, the cultural context is important, and the cultural context of a society where you grow up very sheltered, very innocent, where sex is a taboo subject that is supposed to be dealt with, with a kind of bashfulness. And when the body is covered up until marriage, there are issues that arise out of that. I can speak for myself that can relate to that can make particular challenges, like shame around the body, shame around sex and intimacy, and so on. And I thought that Peggy was in the unique position to talk about that. However, she also represents the more challenging side of things. She sees people who come often ill-prepared, who often have difficulties in their sex lives, and I think these are real issues that happen to people. But her way of, like, the stories she hears or related seem to me to represent the very negative experiences, the people who got the worst sex education, that were probably the anomalies, that were the exceptions. It wasn't what I had experienced, and this particular groom lesson reflects much more closely what I experienced. And so I felt that I can share a piece of my eyes with you by sharing this particular transcript. Quite a few people responded privately to me, and in the comments, they feel that Peggy's view is very limited. And of course, you're seeing, as I said in a disclaimer in the beginning, you're seeing indeed that more negative view. However, I think there is more to be talked about. There is a larger story, and I think you can see that you can fill in a different side of that story by looking at the transcript of the way that a groom is prepared for marriage in this particular instance. And so I decided to do this and read it to you. One last final thing before I get going. There is a very graphic bit in the middle or towards the end, where sex is spelled out very, very explicitly. I don't think it's necessary for me to read that. So I am going to skip over that, and I'm going to start with where the lesson begins, but skip over the more graphic sexual details. It is in my blog post. For those of you who want to see it, you can check it out on my blog. I'm going to link it in the video description. Okay, are you ready for a read along with me? It starts with a groom teacher saying, and he's an older man talking to the younger man. Let's imagine them in a room, in a study, they're alone, private, they're sitting at a table, probably with something to drink and something to bite. The groom teacher says, let's go. So, you're getting married. Turn that off over there, the air conditioning. Okay. So you'll stand under the wedding canopy at your wedding. The last part, when you stand under the wedding canopy, you step on the glass and break it. So after you step on the glass, immediately afterward, you shake hands and exchange mazel tovs with all men. Then give your father a kiss on his hand and tell your mother mazel tov. Your mother will give you either a necklace or earrings. Earrings or a necklace? The groom answers earrings. So it's customary for the groom to give the bride a gift, and the mother is preparing it. And this gift is going to be earrings. So the groom teacher says earrings. She gives it to you. Slip it into the inner pocket of your coat, yeah? Okay. Say mazel tov to your mother-in-law. Say mazel tov to your grandmothers. So he's not shaking hands with the women. He's just saying mazel tov, yeah? And all the aunts, everyone exclaims, mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Fine. You take your bride with the right hand. This is your right hand, yeah? You walk into the private couples room. So this is a special room at Hasidic wedding venues called a yichud room. This is not only Hasidic, it's Orthodox Jews writ large. But the way it is, up until marriage, it is against halacha, it's against law for an unmarried couple to be alone, to be in yichud, to be together alone with a closed door, to symbolize that the couple has just finalized their wedding ceremony under the canopy, to symbolize that they've broken the glass and they're officially married. They will now consummate the marriage, not sexually, they will consummate it by being in yichud, by being alone in the yichud room, in the couple's room. They will be there, I think, for 9 minutes, and they will be there with 2 witnesses outside who will stand outside as witness that the couple indeed spent that time alone with the door closed by themselves, and they are now like officially a couple for having been there. And now he talks about what happens in the yichud room. So he says, as soon as you arrive at the room, lock the door. What's your bride's name? The groom answers, Libby. Libby? Very good name. You say to her, Mazel Tov, Libby, shaking her hand with both of yours, okay? Tell her, Mazel Tov, warmly. Tell her, recite with me, may God bless us with a good marriage, that we should have a good home, and we should always be healthy, always have a happy marriage, and so on and on and on. As soon as you finish this with amen, let go of her hand, embrace her, give her a good kiss here and here, okay? On the cheek, not on the mouth, okay? By the way, I find it interesting that he mentions on the mouth and assumes that the boy already knows about kissing on the mouth, because I learned about kissing on the mouth only in my penultimate lesson from the teacher who said a kiss on the mouth is the kiss, I think, of David or of Solomon. I don't remember. But she said it's a very special kiss that couples give each other. I hadn't had any exposure to that because Hasidic couples don't show physical affection to each other in public. They do show, of course, we're supposed to show devotion to each other, but they don't hold hands, they don't embrace, and they, of course, don't kiss each other in front of the kids or in front of others. And so you don't know about kissing on the lips unless you've seen non-Hasidim do that. So for me, I was literally told about that, like there is such a thing as kissing on the mouth. Here, the teacher seems to assume he already knows. And as soon as you're done kissing her, you let go of her and you say, wow, Libby, your gown is beautiful. It came out so gorgeous. It came out so stunning. Very, very nice. Fine. Tell her, I have something for you. Take out the earrings. Give her one, give her the other. She puts it on. Tell her, wow, very, very, very nice on you. The next thing, say, come, let's sit down. Remove your elegant rishvulka or coat, whatever you'll be wearing. Remain in the kittel, the white groom's outer coat. Don't take care of yourself now. Stay in your kittel, sit down, and the first question to ask is, Libby, how was your day? So this couple on their wedding day, it's a very serious day. They spend the day fasting and praying. They don't eat anything. I, on my wedding day, went to visit the grave sites of my ancestors and invited them, their spirits, to come to the wedding. It was a very cold November day, and it was like a very intense experience of like not eating and praying a lot of like crying your heart out in hopes that God is listening to you for a good life. So now they're kind of sitting and debriefing on that. How was it? When did you come to the wedding hall? When did you say the afternoon prayers? Were you able to sleep last night? But you won't ask everything because she's going to be asking back, Yossi, how was your day? You'll say how your day went, and so it'll go one after the other. After a minute, serve her a slice of cake, pour her something to drink, take a piece of cake for yourself, say the blessing, then she says the blessing. Pour a drink for her and then for you. Now, you talk for 2 minutes how the day went, yeah? How you slept, how yesterday went, and today, and someone is already knocking on the door. The moment someone knocks, open the door. What do? You open the door. In comes a woman who will take care of your bride, of the wig, of the hair, okay, and the whole thing. So the bride was wearing an opaque veil for the chuppah, for the ceremony under the canopy. It was peeled back when the ceremony was over, and now she's kind of looking not fully like her best, and they're going to remove the veil, and they're going to get her to look just right with hair and makeup and so on, a wig, and get ready for photography. So they'll take pictures, and then after the photography, the couple goes to the dancing part of the wedding. Now, when your bride is taken care of, the lady took your bride, now you take off the kittel, the white outer coat. You fix your shoelaces. So you're tying your shoelaces because under the wedding canopy, you're not allowed to have any knots because you're trying to tie only one knot, which is the marital knot. So the shoelaces are open, so now you tie your shoelaces, meaning you didn't want to spend any time fixing yourself while you're spending the time with a bride. And the photographer comes to take pictures of you. When your bride is ready, you'll take pictures together, okay? When all the pictures are done, you go wash your hands for bread. And you wash your hands. Of course, put the towel on your wife's hand. Cut 2 slices of challah. First for your wife and then for yourself, yeah? Your father does that too. Friday night, when he cuts the bread, he gives first to your mother and then for himself, yeah? Okay. What else will you do? You'll eat the appetizer, soup. And while eating the soup, the parents come in. Clean yourself off so you don't have crumbs anywhere. Hold your bride, again, by the right hand. Now you walk into the women's ballroom together. They're entering the big ballroom. Everyone is waiting. There are 2 separate ballrooms, one for women and one for men, and they're going together into the women's ballroom. You walk through until you get to the men's ballroom. When you get to the men's side, tell your bride, Libby, be well. Enjoy the wedding. I will see you later. They're literally like having separate weddings because they're spending their time at respective gendered ballrooms. You go into the men's ballroom. You dance first with your father, next with your father-in-law, then with a grandfather, so there's a special order. Then with your father's family, your mother's family, your father-in-law's family, your mother-in-law's family, your siblings, your father's children, yeah, and your wife's, your father-in-law's children. Then you can dance in any order with the other guests. Then everyone stops in the middle for the evening prayers for the break. Everyone eats ice cream and their prayers, and then afterwards you dance with your friends, and then the wedding is over. Is there going to be a final dance portion at your wedding? It's called the mitzvah tanz. Not all weddings have a mitzvah tanz. So the groom answers, halfway, yes. Halfway. But you're going to dance with your bride, right? Yes, that, yes. Yeah. So the dance will be announced. They go. That's how it's announced, that the groom goes to dance with the bride. You get up. And by the way, there are a lot of videos on YouTube of this mitzvah tanz, and I did a video about it. It's a very special dance at the end of the wedding, very emotional to me. You get up in front of the bride like this with your hands held out, and you dance to and fro, slowly, yeah? When they start singing the lively song, that's when, and when they stop the slow melody, so they're singing, when they stop that and they start singing fast, then take her back to her mother, slowly let go of her hand. Dance twice around with the men in the circle, and the wedding is over. So he's dropped his new wife off with her mother to sit down. He does a little more dancing with the menfolk, and the wedding is over. As soon as the wedding is over, stand next to your bride. Don't go to talk to anyone. Stand next to her. I find this so cute. Like, don't go schmoozing up with your friends. Don't forget you have a wife now. Everyone says how nice and beautiful and gorgeous the wedding was, and everyone gives their last well wishes, and you tell everyone thank you for coming and thank you for staying to the end. Yeah? Everyone goes home. As everyone goes home, what do? You ask your bride, Libby, are we going? You go into a car, the back seat, and someone drives you to. As soon as you get home, if there are steps, lift your bride's gown. But even in the hallway, lift your bride's gown from the front and say, I don't want, God forbid, for you to fall. You go home, she opens the door, you go in, put everything down on a couch or a chair, wherever you can, okay? The next thing, you then start to take off your outer coat, your belt, your weekend overcoat, yeah? While you take it off, you talk. Say to her, Libby, please come. Let me help you take off your gown because I want you to be more comfortable. Then you go into the kitchen, eat a little, chat a little. There's usually like little cakes prepared on the table for when the couple comes home. Then you go get ready to go to sleep. You'll recite the Shema prayers and take a shower, okay? So now, come. Where do you go? Go into the bedroom, open her zipper all the way, turn away. She can hear that you turned away. Turn away all the way so you can't see her and tell her, please drop your gown on the floor. I will take it into the other room. She drops it on the floor, pick it up, put it in the other room, put it on the floor. Before you can look into the bedroom, because I don't want you to see her only when she's dressed, before you can see her, you'll ask loudly, can I come in? She says, yeah, come in. You come in, you take off your shoes, make yourself comfortable. Tell your bride, Libby, do you want me to be comfortable? When you are comfortable, I am comfortable. Please make yourself comfortable, the wig, whatever, but just be comfortable. You put 2 chairs next to each other, like at the wedding. Even if she had prepared the apartment, 1 chair here, another here, there, take the chairs, put them next to each other, okay? Sit down. The first thing you talk. What do you think of the wedding music? What do you think of the pianist? What do you think of the singer? You talk about the wedding. After a minute, you'll take your hand and put it on her shoulder, wrap it around her, and you tell her, you know, Libby, I was in here in the apartment today. The tradition is that the groom spends the wedding day in the couple's apartment, and it's usually been outfitted by the bride extensively with potpourri, and it's beautiful linen, so it's the first time really that he sees it. I was in the apartment today, and you did such a beautiful job. And as you say the word such, you embrace her with both arms, and you're going to give her a few deep kisses on her cheek. Here, 2, 3, there, 2, 3. But now, for sure, she returns the embraces. You're going to kiss each other for a few minutes, either for 3 seconds or for 3 minutes. I don't know. You are allowed whatever you want, however you feel. And you talk to her very sweetly. Tell her how much you love her and how beautiful she is and how beautiful she looked at the wedding. You can talk to her. Tell her how beautifully she set up the apartment and how beautifully it is set up inside, in the cabinets. You'll take your arm off her and you'll give her a piece of cake. Give her something to drink. Give her a chocolate. You eat. You schmooze. What do you talk about? You talk more about the wedding. You talk for 20 minutes, not more than 20 minutes, a half hour tops. When the time has passed, you see it's been a half hour, you say, okay, Libby, we still have a big night tonight. Come, let's go. You get up. You return the chairs to their place. Put on your floral kaftan, yeah, the long overcoat you wear in shops. The kaftan, it's not floral really. It has floral print, but it's black. And the first shtreimel. And say the night prayers. If you say the prayers, she'll do the same. And as soon as you're done, you say, okay, Libby, now you go take a shower first. And she takes a shower. As soon as she is in the shower, you do 5 things. The first thing you will do will be that you will go to her bed. Let's say this is the night chest and this is the door. This is your bed. Here's the night chest. Here's her bed. Go to her bed. So a couple has 2 beds, one for her and one for him, and they have sex in her bed. Because he's not having sex in his bed would cause him to think about sex when they're not allowed to have sex, during periods that they're not allowed to have sex. So that the bed, her bed becomes the space for intimacy. This is her bed. Here's the night chest. Here's the bed. Go to her bed, remove the covers, clear her bed, take a white towel and put the cover like this. So when she comes into the room, your bed is still the way she made it. Meanwhile, she sees that her bed has been prepared, so she goes into her bed, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing that you will do is this. You'll open the drawer in the night chest and take out 2 creams, okay? And a bunch of towel paper. And you'll put it on the night chest. That's the second thing. What's the third thing? You will go to the mezuzah scroll. It's like a little scroll on the door with a special prayer inside. And oh, are you going to kiss it? Ask the Almighty, please come with me in bed. I can't alone, yeah? You can't go to bed alone. That's the third thing. Fourth thing that will happen, undress in your bedroom. When you go today in the shower, do you get dressed like this? You go with a shower clothing? You bought a robe, yeah? So you put on your robe and wait outside of the bathroom. That's the fourth thing. So now when she comes out of the shower, she's wearing a nightgown, the most beautiful one she bought. Usually it's a white silk nightgown. You tell her, wow, Libby, what you're wearing is gorgeous. Maybe give her another hug and a kiss. Maybe. You'll see how she likes it. But you must say how beautiful it is because she spent a lot of money and she ironed it so it looks beautiful. And you say nothing? You can't do a thing like that, all right? Tell her, wow, it's gorgeous what you're wearing. Tell her that, Libby, now I will take a shower. Go into the shower. Take a very quick shower. Brush your teeth. Your mouth should have a good smell. Put on deodorant. When you come out of the shower, put on only your robe. You don't need more. A yarmulke, of course. You always wear a yarmulke. Yarmulke and a robe. Not an undershirt and not underpants. Wash your hands, because you must wash your hands. Before the deed, you must wash your hands. If you come out of the shower and you see your wife is in the kitchen, then no, tell her that, Libby, my teacher said that when I come out of the shower, you will already be in bed. So go into the bedroom, prepare yourself. I'll come in 2 minutes. It's not a problem. It could be that she doesn't know, so you tell her. Go into the bedroom. She's already lying in bed. She's already undressed. Okay. But she's covered with a coverlet. She doesn't see anything. If she left off the light, it means that she's not ready to see how a man looks and is not ready for you to see her. So turn off the light so it's completely dark. Quickly take off your robe. Toss it on your bed. Go into your bed and straight away, your hands go under her head so that when you got in, you've already embraced her, okay? Do you understand what I said? So as soon as you're in bed, what happens is she turns to you, okay? So what you'll do now, you can't touch her whole body because she's not ready for that. It's allowed. It's allowed by religious law. But as a matter of basic decency, you can't do it. So what you'll do is you'll touch only her face. Stroke her face, her forehead. You can give her a kiss on her forehead. And you kiss her and you stroke her face and you tell her how delicious it is. Tell her how much you waited for her. Tell her how much you love her. Tell her how beautiful she is. Tell her how much you enjoy her. Tell her how delicious it is to be lying next to her. And tell her that you only want one thing, that she should be happy. And this is your single mission in life. She should be happy. You want to make her happy to no end. She will be the happiest woman on earth. Talk to her very, very sweetly. Okay? She'll say such things to you too, yeah? That's how it will be the whole time. How long will you lie with her? However long you want. A half hour, an hour and a half. I don't care. However long you want, okay? Now, when you feel ready, you want to go, you want to do it, what do? You go to the night chest. Here's the night chest. Give her, this is her. Goes into how they're going to have sex. He gives her cream. He gives her KY jelly. I think they're using 2 creams, and they're having sex for the first time and potentially hurts. Once they are done consummating the sexual marriage, you must jump out of bed. Why? Because in Orthodox Judaism, when a woman menstruates or bleeds from her uterus or from her intimate parts, then, and the reason I say not just menstrual, because it includes, let's say, post-birthing, then she is not permitted to have physical contact with her husband or to even talk about sex. And that is a period called a period of impurity, or niddah. And subsequent to the bleeding, there is a 7-day countdown of making sure that she's no longer bleeding. Then she goes to a mikveh, a ritual bath, for a purification in special waters. And it's a very spa-like place. And afterwards, the couple is reunited, and usually, customarily, it is expected for them to have sex on the night of the mikveh. So this instance, because it's the wedding night and we're assuming she's a virgin, she's probably going to be bleeding. So she becomes a niddah as soon as the marriage is consummated. But this will not be the case for the rest of the marriage. So this is special instructions for the wedding night. Don't look because you're not allowed to see her. She's undressed, okay? Turn around, look away, and ask, are you covered? If she says yes, go to the night chest, take 3 to 4, 5 paper towels, wipe yourself real well till you're totally dry. Put on your pajamas. You have pajamas, surely, yeah? Put on your pajamas without an undershirt, only pajamas. If you sleep with the tzitzis, put on the tzitzis. Anyway, I'm going to skip this as well. They're essentially looking to see if there's blood. If you don't find blood, then she's still not permitted to you because her period of impurity has began from now until she goes to the ritual bath. Because if you did the deed, then the period of impurity started anyway, okay? Very many girls don't have blood. They say that 40% don't bleed. But if the deed was completed, then the separation period begins anyway, okay? So you're saying the separation period begins no matter if you found blood. You call me afterwards to tell me what's going on. Tell me, yes, blood, not blood, whatever the case is, and I'll lead you from there. Because sometimes when there's no blood, it's because it wasn't consummated. So the groom teacher is trying to make sure that the couple is clear on what actually happened. You'll say a blessing. I'll tell you if you should say the blessing or not, okay? Now you'll recite the blessing. You'll obviously wash your hands, recite the blessing. Go into your bed, no longer in her bed, only in your bed to sleep. She goes into her bed. And you'll wake up like 10, 10:30. You'll go to the ritual purity bath. So men also go to the mikveh, especially after they have sex, I believe, and the synagogue for morning prayers. You'll put on your prayer shawl. You'll recite the special blessing for something new. What new thing? The wife. Tell your bride that you will call her before you come home, because maybe she won't be ready yet. I don't know. So tell her you will call her. Because this morning is very important for her, because she is getting her head shaved. If she's shaving her head, she's getting her head shaved. That was the case for me. And also she's preparing her first breakfast, and her mother is coming over for a little. So he's trying to give her enough time to prepare for a nice breakfast for the couple together, but for her also to transform into the marital headgear. So if she's going to be wearing a wig, she's being set up by her mother with her new head covering, and she needs time for that and to cook breakfast. You will call after prayers and ask, are you ready? Then I'll come home now. If not, I'll stay in the synagogue a bit longer. You'll come home. How do you come home? How do you come in? Like this. Yoy, it smells like heaven here. The next day, you should be sure to tell your mother-in-law, mother-in-law, thank you, because Libby, she's a pleasure. Their mother-in-law made her so great. It's good to get on with her. Tell her such things. You can go to your mother-in-law and say another thing. The mother-in-law is a billionaire. She'll ask, why? You'll say, when you have such a daughter, you're a billionaire. Yeah, this kind of thing. Every time you eat at your mother-in-law's, which is the custom, the couple goes together to eat at the mother-in-law's, say, thank you, it's extraordinarily good. The mother-in-law's food is very, very delicious. Whatever. To your father-in-law too, give him respect. That's it. He comes in, you get up. My father-in-law is here? Yeah? Fine. What else? You will eat breakfast with your wife. How long? The whole day. Talk and talk with her. But sometimes during the day, you should say, you know what? I want you to sleep a little bit. It's not that I want to sleep. I want you to rest a little bit. Come, let's go take a nap. You understand? You were up all night, and there's a party tonight again. So there's 7 nights of parties after the wedding. Every time she gets dressed for these events, you say, wow. After the second day, you'll say, you know what? On everything, I have the same taste as you. Everything that you like, I also like. Every dress, everything in the home, everything that you like, I also like. So we are the same taste. That's it. You'll be crazy nice to her, then she'll be crazy nice to you, and everything will work out. Good? If I know you're getting married, I'll wear my cell phone at night, and you can call me the whole night. So the groom asks, should I call you the next day? Of course you should call me the next day. I'll only ask if everything is okay and make sure that it worked out. If there's blood, then I know for sure that you were. But if there's no blood, then we need to make a test. We check, okay? Okay, Yassi? Do you have my cell phone? Here, let me give you my cell phone. You call me whenever. Well, this is very, very lovely and endearing and also limited. The sexual portion did not involve any information about female orgasm, about, it's a very simple missionary sex. And also, you know, this older man is lovingly sending off the young man to hopefully a loving relationship. And I think that's what I like about this lesson. There is an effort, there's a prioritizing a loving relationship. And I also feel that that was what I was taught that marriage is about. And it doesn't always work out that way. You know, you say, I love you, and you have sex with someone you don't know. There's many ways this can work out in reality. Like I can see this lesson playing out in all sorts of ways, some of which are painful, and some of which are traumatic, and some of which are traumatic and beautiful, and some of which are euphoric. And I think it's a very beautiful slice of human life story. For me, this is almost like literature to me, and it's very beautiful. And yet, it is a more liberal lesson. I know people who didn't get this lesson. The work that Peggy does with so much empathy and so much care, to try to guide people where they are to be able to have a better intimate life, it often addresses people who come from places of misinformation and dysfunction, and have not been adequately prepared and have not received this. And this is also a work in progress, where some parents are going to be more on top of making sure their children are getting the right direction than others. And I think there's many ways to talk about how we prepare children for sex in this population or writ large. And we're never going to be able to tell the story from one particular angle, but only from when we tell it from multiple angles. And I hope that this reading was one of them and was enlightening. Thank you for joining and for watching, and bye-bye.